The internet has given us some absolute bangers at the moment. And we got one more, which I didn't think that we would see because, again, the film is coming out. Now, if you know me, I have been very critical with Bat in the Sun, mainly with Aaron and what they've been putting out with Legend of the White Dragon. And something was leaked, a roughly around about 7-minute video from JDF Exclusive, who basically got this and was just like, oh, hey, yeah, let's just upload this, because they weren't told what to do with any of this. So they put it online for us to look at. And I'm going to be going through all of this and talking about it, giving my thoughts. Now, I'm not going to be putting much of the footage up there because I don't know if Aaron's going to go through the entire internet and strike everybody down for this. So I will put some pictures up now so that you can see that I have actually watched it and it is there. And yeah, you can search for it yourself online if you want to see where it is. Now, I'm guessing some people are going to be like, oh, hey, guess what? This has come out a long time ago, so it's not the final finished product. But majority looks like it's been done, and I know that they've done reshoots. But we're going to go through what was released before, which you can see. I'm hoping that majority of this has completely changed since what we've got, which would make absolute perfect sense. I think that nothing much is going to change for these scenes completely. In the short minute film, the main scenes that we're seeing is a hallway scene where two scientists are talking, Dragon Prime killing one of the scientists, Eric Reed dreaming that he is seeing his daughter on the floor in a room full of flames, a church scene, fighting in the church, Dragon Prime stabbing Eric getting his powers, and then the final scene, which is going to be a fight between Dragon Prime and White Dragon. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, this is just a giant beatdown which has had some fancy effects. I don't think that this has completely changed, and it feels just like if you watched any other beatdown, you could just get the kind of vibe for it, which is kind of weird because I thought it would be slightly different considering how much money has been put into the entire project, which is millions of dollars apparently, or over $1 million. I do think that when this film does come out, people are going to be very disappointed for what it is, because Aaron has been hyping this up for a very long time. He's been saying it's something completely different, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be whatever it is. But to be fair, when I watched this, I wasn't hyped what I saw, and I generally think that a lot of work still needed to be done. And granted, this was done a while ago, so I'm kind of giving it a little bit more benefit of the doubt, and I'm hoping that a lot of stuff has changed. But something deep down inside me thinks that nothing has absolutely changed. Now, it's going to be the generic thing. People are absolutely going to love it, and some people are going to hate it. But I generally think a lot of people will be disappointed with this, even if they don't say so. The way it could have been was a brand new superhero premise, a new franchise, but to me, it just feels like it's an extended beatdown, and that is it. As it opens up, it's just two scientists walking down a hallway, which is very CW-like, and I just felt like there needed to be a bit more questions. Like, having this as an opening scene is just kind of really, really weird if you're sending this to investors or for people to generally kind of look and be like, hell yeah, we want this on the platform. One of the scientists has a gun, and rather than it being like a holster or on his body, it just feels like it's in his pocket, and it could have gone off any time because it's not being held. And this is kind of very weird. Now, I do think that this is like 10 minutes in or something, because obviously they're talking about what's going on. But if you're opening the entire film with this, which I highly doubt it, I just wanted to go, why? Because there's no suspense of me going, oh shit, why is this guy walking down the hallway? What's he going to be doing? Is this going to be a big thing? No, I generally didn't think that whatsoever. From what we see in this, Aaron's acting, his voiceover is really, really bad, and it just feels like there is no emotion in this whatsoever, and he's just reading lines, and that is really off-putting. There is no anger in his voice that he's looking for Eric Reed. You could easily have put that in, Aaron. I generally think that you would have, but it's just your lines, your delivery, even later on, just really doesn't sell it for being a bad guy. It's very robotic. Now, I'm hoping that you've changed all this. Again, this could have been shot a long time ago, but I'm hoping that you've completely changed it, and with your corrections that you've said you're going to do or have done, then you would be able to change your voice and give it a little bit more kind of oomph, rather than, where is Eric Reed? Where is Eric Reed? tell me where Eric Reed is. Your baby is alive because of you. That's how I saw all of this, and it just didn't really sell what you're trying to sell. Now, one of the things in this scene was the fire. When you're in that sort of environment, the glow is going to be absolutely everywhere. And when looking at the way that Eric Reed is walking, it feels like he's not really kind of going, oh, it's a little bit of fire, oh, that hurts, or there's any glow around him. I think that even with Jenna as well, that there was no flickering on her face. Considering where she was laying, there would have been more of a glow around her face. It's just something that I'm guessing that Aaron didn't kind of want to put in properly, or kind of rely on the filters that were there. If you're trying to really sell it, you want to look at every single effect, and also the way lighting is in the room. If you don't do that sort of thing, it doesn't kind of sell it, and it feels like you're just going to put a filter on there to kind of mask where it is. Again, you'd have more of a glow effect on all of their bodies due to how much fire is in the room. I'm not expecting the whole scene to be overexposed because of this, but I'm hoping that this has been fixed in the final version. If not, then it's something that is going to kind of go, oh, is all your effects going to be like this? I'm hoping that it's fixed in the final release. Now, I'm not going to give Aaron a hard time on this. I do think there are some good scenes in this, and the way that everything goes, especially since you have the walk-in scene with Eric and the little girl. I don't know why she kind of looks off to one side quickly. It looks like she's reading her lines and she's not looking or the organ that she's playing. But I will say that the fight scene between the monk and Eric was absolutely fantastic. It looked really, really nice. It flowed so well. Even when the gun is kind of being grabbed, it is all fluid. The fight scene looks absolutely fantastic on how it would be. And a lot of people, when they do fight scenes, they kind of hold back with speed or with strength because they don't want to hurt the other person. And this, I generally thought, was fantastic. I feel like this does kind of sell the scene. I'm guessing that with every single scene with JDF in his kind of normal form, it is going to be fun. It is going to be kind of something that will capture your eye and keep you entertained. Even the headbutt from Eric seemed natural. It was more like, okay, cool. And I like that. I think that worked really, really well. That entire scene gives like a form of mystery. It kind of makes you want to know more. And that's how I felt when watching the scene. I wanted to see what was going to happen next. And that is what I think the film should have a lot more of. And maybe I'll see it when it drops. So going back to more of these sorts of glows and how lighting works and stuff like that. When you see the blade go right through Eric's body, even on the monk, you can see more of a glow, and it's kind of weird how you would put more of a glow in the energy blade compared to fire, which probably is a lot lighter and brighter than the actual blade itself. When Eric is being pulled out from that scene, I generally thought that the kind of glow on his chest would last a lot longer. Now, when you see heat or anything like that, think about those balls that you see on TikTok that are completely heated up to the maximum temperature where they are actually glowing. And then they're put into random stuff like gel or orbs or whatever. And when you see this, you see that the actual ball itself takes a lot longer to kind of cool down. So I was generally thinking, are we going to be seeing that within it? But no, it as soon as you get 3 seconds for it to cool down, which I kind of find very unrealistic. It should have lasted a lot longer. I could understand if by the time that he's out of that building, it's gone, but it should have lasted a lot longer. And these little things are the things that I notice and other people will at the same time. Most of these sorts of effects I've seen being promoted on other websites that you can buy, and I generally think that some of them could have been made bigger. What sort of environment that you're using them for? I will give him credit on the glowing plant. That absolutely looked fantastic, and I really like that. I think it kind of sells the scene a little bit more, saying like this is on some distant planet, and it kind of adds to it. That I absolutely liked. But the well scene, or the well itself, when you look at it compared to two different shots, so you know how big that the well is. When the monk throws Eric into the well, to the pool at the bottom, the whole kind of entrance to it is absolutely really small. And considering the size of Eric, I generally thought that it would have been a lot bigger, and it easily could have been done. It's like, hey, I'm looking at this giant hole, and then suddenly I'm looking through a paper roll from a toilet roll. It just doesn't sell the scene, and that whole place should have been a lot bigger. For Eric to fall down the well, I just don't think this sells it very well, and I could imagine him getting kind of stuck. The water scene, absolutely loved this. Thought it was fantastic, from many different shots, from it being quite quick in one area to being really slow. It really sold it, and the water effect was absolutely fantastic. The slow motion really sells it at points, and it kind of adds a bit more like suspense on what's going on. And this is what I kind of feel like there are some really good parts in this, considering that there are some really bad parts at the same time. The final scene at the very end, where it is White Dragon versus Dragon Prime, I generally think needs a little bit more work when it comes to the visual effects. The whole thing of fire being around and not having any glow on the walls or even on the White Dragon himself, I feel like this is a big thing. Like, you're trying to sell this really, really well, and it just feels like, oh, maybe no one will notice whatsoever. The also HUD interfaces made absolutely no sense, considering where most HUD interfaces will have a lot of information. I feel like these were just placed there to kind of give it that futuristic kind of look, considering that you could have had, I don't know, maybe a 3D model or something, or information going up saying, oh, this is his weakness, this is whatever, you know, scanning the area. But it does nothing like that. And considering that with a lot of sci-fi stuff, this is a big crucial moment. So I think just slapping a HUD interface for no reason that gives nothing to the actual fight itself was a waste of time. And again, I'm hoping that this is fixed, because if not, then it's just, oh, you just slapped a HUD interface straight away with nothing there. The fight is okay, it is nothing major, but it does kind of add to it. So all of this right now to me seems like it is a giant beatdown that has some fancy sprinkles added in on top. There isn't anything that makes this stand out compared to Aaron's other work, which is the shame, because I think that if you're trying to sell this to like people, you could have shown some of your beatdowns as well so people could see it. But for what you're trying to send out, I kind of expected a little bit more. But I will say, some of this is really shot well. There are some fantastic scenes that I've mentioned in this video that I do think works really, really well. And it does make me kind of want to know more, but I'm also not that bothered at the same time, considering what Aaron has been saying about the project and the way that he's acted all along to the lead up coming up very, very soon. I like the cloaking ability. I think the cloaking ability was pretty cool. I just don't think it's kind of needed with the girl at the very beginning, because literally she's going to wonder where you're gone and suddenly you appeared. But the way that you've done that sort of thing looked absolutely really cool. The water scene, absolutely fantastic. I thought that was beautifully shot and worked really, really well with how the entire thing is. Like, fantastic. You've done a really good job on that one. But from what I've seen so far, and considering the other things that you've put in the trailer, I generally think this could have been released a lot sooner. And I don't know why all of a sudden that you've taken so long to do this. Even with all the reshoots and stuff that happened with JDF's passing, I feel like majority of this film was completely finished and ready to go, and I just don't know why you didn't release it a lot sooner. And I know that you've been going on about color correction and sound and stuff and everything there, but I generally think that you could have passed this off to someone else to get edited properly, to get everything done, rather than try to do this yourself. I think when you're editing this to send out to people as a press pack or whatever, I did generally think that if you moved one or two scenes around, it would have made a lot more like, oh my god, this looks really cool. Like swapping the first scene where you've got the two scientists walking down the hall and you kill one of them. If you swap it where Eric Reed is dreaming and stuff, I think that you would have more of an impact. This might not make everybody go like, oh my god, I need to watch more. It just feels like this was just kind of like slapped together to send out to people. As I said earlier, Aaron's voiceover work and his acting to me in this, from what I've seen, doesn't really sell it, and that's something that could really like impact the film. When you've got much of a robotic voice or no passion or no emotions whatsoever, it just makes me want to go, oh, I'm not going to watch this. If you've got bad sound design, I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to turn it off and be like, oh well, that was shit, wasn't it? Even though this was 2 years old, the way that I see this, I generally thought this was going to be shot in maybe the same sort of style, as well as color grading and all that sort of jazz, as like an MCU film at the very, very beginning. But again, this just looks like an extended beatdown. I know I'm being really nitpicky in this, and you could be typing that in the comments, but the way that Aaron has been kind of promoting this and talking about it is this is going to be next level. This is going to be a cinematic masterpiece. But from what I've seen, I've not seen that whatsoever. If this is going to be the highest quality that you can do, you might as well go back to sticking to doing your content, because no matter how much money that you ask for your fans in Kickstarters or whatever, and you're going to produce the same level of what you've been producing for years, then I don't see this being a good thing for you. I just feel like you should be sticking to what you're doing, which is a shame, because I can tell that Aaron is a very talented filmmaker, and I can see his kind of vision at times, even though we have our disagreements. But I generally think that if you're not improving your craft, if you're not improving your skill, then you're just going to stay with what has worked in the past. And considering how everybody has moved forward right now and how the industry is, I generally thought that Aaron would be changing things up and trying new things rather than sticking with, oh, well, that got us X amount of views, we're going to stay with that. From what was mentioned from Henry Resilient, link in the description if you want to go check him out, he mentioned that there was going to be a September release from his sources. So if you want to take that from a grain of salt, you can do, but I trust Henry and what he's saying. As this is coming out in September, I'm kind of curious to know what happened to the distribution deal. Has he got someone for it, or is it just going to go on YouTube for everyone to see, or is it going to be like a rental where you have to rent it? I have no idea. This is something that is going to happen. I believe what Henry says, so September is going to be very, very interesting and not too long now when this does drop, and I'll go over the same level as I have done in this video and give my kind of thoughts about it. But for now, I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts? Have you seen the 7-minute short of Legend of the White Dragon? So let me know down below in the comments and let's discuss. And while you're down there, why not hit the like button and subscribe? I'm trying to reach 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I know we can smash this goal. So let's go! Anyway, thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。